Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you are doing well. Today it is my favorite video. I love doing our trade targets video for the week. If you've been enjoying the content and you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It really does help get the videos out there to more people. So if you could take a moment and hit that subscribe and hit the like on this video, then I would appreciate that. Let's get straight into it. Number one trade-in target, 32.7 thousand coaches have gone with Angus Clark. You just need to go and get him. Is he going to score 98 tomorrow night against Brisbane? Probably not, but he will definitely be on the field. And at the moment with the buys and our three trades, he needs to be one of them. If you've got trainer, if you've got bias, very, very easy downgrade straight down to them, unless you want to use someone like a Connor Stone as well. But I feel like I don't need to say too much about Angus Clark. Get him into your side. Nick Martin can massively tick this off. Has had 300 plus scores in the last 3 weeks. Definitely looks back to his best. Went absolutely crazy in that last quarter against Richmond. Very, very jealous that I wasn't able to go there just with what happened with my team late last week. But Nick Martin, I couldn't talk anyone out. Definitely a top 6 forward. Someone who I want to talk about is a Zach Merritt. His break even is still 105. Brisbane at the Gabba last year, he did really, really well in that fixture. But I'm almost saying to people, I'd rather spend this money next week on a Bontempelli or a Richards, or a Matt Kennedy in the forward line. There are plenty of other players. Zach Butters coming off the bye this week. Sam Walsh coming off the bye this week. There's just a lot of good, high-quality players that we are going to want next week. And I think I'd rather pay next week and sort of get that role. Like a Nick Martin is a guaranteed top 6 forward. So I don't mind spending up for someone like that this week. But with a Zach Merritt, I'd almost say miss on Merritt and spend that money on a Jack Sinclair, who's a lot cheaper. You get the flexibility with the mid-defence, and you get that. Or you save it for next week and bring in Bontempelli. That's what I would be doing personally. But, there's 6,000 coaches pretty well bringing in Zach Merritt. Max Holmes has kind of bottomed out a little bit. He's at 78 break-even at 916K. He's down a little bit on the start of the season. He has been a little bit up and down. He is starting. His last month has been 79, 118, 83, and 117 with a variety of fixtures. He goes West Coast, Gold Coast, which will be difficult, and then Essendon and Brisbane going to the bye. I think with Geelong, you kind of want to get them for their post-bye as well. So Richmond, GWS, St Kilda, North, Port, Essendon, Sydney, and Richmond. I really want to start targeting Geelong players as soon as I can, and if a Max Holmes is all you can get to in your defence this week, then I am not against it. So if you can get up to a Max Holmes, it is great. Will Hayes, I'm not a huge fan of. With Collingwood getting a few players back this week as well, he might not even be in the side, so I would not be going there. Chad Warner, similar to a Nick Martin. If you already own a Nick Martin and you're looking for another forward upgrade, I think Chad Warner is a great shout. Crows Richmond into Port, whose midfield isn't looking as strong as the last few years, just with how we're performing. Bulldogs are a tough matchup, but, there are points there. Fremantle St Kilda is not bad either. And Sydney have been overly reliant on him and Heaney. So love that move. Campbell Gray, as you can tell by the little icon there, is in my side. He is one of my downgrade targets this week, just purely out of necessity. As long as he holds his spot. Noah Bolter can't travel to Sydney for this game, so I'd expect Campbell Gray to be there. And there's word about Luke Traynor maybe not playing, so if Campbell Gray slides into that defence, then there is a world where he can at least contribute. Jack Sinclair, as I mentioned before, love this pick. 139, 119 goes into Melbourne at Alice Springs, which is known for last year's Fremantle masterclass of Jordan Clark and Luke Ryan. I think Jack Sinclair and Nazaya Wanganeen post round 13 could be massive to have in your defence. And at 985, under $1 million, I wish I went there over a Whitfield because he's gone 139, 119 since I went Lockie Whitfield, which is really, really nice. So could have put on a lot more points compared to the 80s and 90s I've been getting out of a Lachie Whitfield. Kane McAuliffe, I've had a few people talk to me about him in the comments of my team review. I'm not a huge fan of this pick. There are players coming back. I know Lawler's just gone out, but we've just not seen Kane McAuliffe do this. GWS and Sydney are not easy midfield matchups as well, so I just think this is an avoid. Cozzy Pickett, I've said it all year. If you're prepared to ride the roller coaster, that's what his scoring is. 87, 99, 118, 65, 64, then 300s in a row. I actually see some of this staying, but again, he scored a 126 with 9 shots at goal. That's what's not sustainable. So his bad games are going to be real bad games, but his good games are going to be fantastic games. If you want to ride that I felt like at like 700, 750K, it was worth a punt, not so much near the 900K range. Sheldrick, similar to McAuliffe. I just think there's too many moving parts with Sydney. Adams is in their best 22. Mills is in their best 22. You know, Warner, Heaney, Rowbottom. There's, you know, players that are in and around this midfield, and I just think he's too much of a sub-risk. Same with the Sam Berry. Not even going there. Don't go there. He had a great score. Dane Zorko, I love. Again, he's gone 5 scores over 100 with a good run here with Essendon, Adelaide, GWS, and Geelong. Again, if you're prepared to take on the 36-year-old at almost 1.1 million, I can't talk you out of it, but I'm not going there. And a Tom Stewart, I've been advising people not to go there. He didn't look great in this game. I know he had the 9 marks, but he still looked proppy. West Coast over in Optus as well. You know, is there late shenanigans like there was against Brisbane? Are they going to try and manage him? I just wouldn't go there at all. Zach Johnson, depending on if he's named the sub. Obviously, a 230K midfielder would be nice for us to have as a downgrade target, but maybe he's an option next week. Whilst I was there, actually, Luke Jackson I love with the flexibility of ruck forward as well, but the Sean Darcy issue is there. And then there's a Toby Green who, I mean, he went crazy. 3 goals, 3. You know, he had 28 touches, 9 marks. That was like the perfect game for Toby Green. Maybe he plays a little bit more midfield time through the buys because Kelly's, I don't think, back yet. Same with a Finn Callahan and a Canelio. Who I wanted to talk about here was a Brian Myers. I absolutely love the Brian Myers pick. He is just a footballer who fills out the fantasy stat lines. He's not typically known as a tackler, which is why the numbers are a little bit higher, but he is a high possession, high mark player, which translates very, very well to AFL Fantasy. So I have him at the moment. Kitty Coleman, I've just noticed here, is not playing once again, which is not great for my Supercoach side, so I'm going to have to sort that one out. And there's an option there of a Kai Lohman, who I don't hate as an option as well, priced at $351. If you're needing to get off a Cooper Simpson, and you can move money to make things work. I think he's finally getting back to some fitness and some continuity with his football. And I think he's ready to go back to the form of last year. So that's what is happening with the ins. With the outs, now, why is this not... Man, the AFL website this week has been absolutely shocking. So let's go back to coach's choice out. Zach Reed, again, 30,000 coaches have gotten off of him. Fair enough. Luke Trainer, Sam Lawler, Caleb Daniel. Now, this is an interesting one. I am holding Caleb Daniel because West Coast isn't an easy matchup, but I think with him and Hardiman back there and Sheasel either playing this mid-forward hybrid role, I think Daniel can go back to being an 85-90 operator, which we saw against Collingwood. It's been in my comments that Collingwood had a lot of behinds. North Melbourne are going to be a side that concede a lot of shots on goal. So there are going to be games where he gets a lot of volume back in defence. So I'm of the opinion of holding because you're going to gain the next 4 weeks after the bye. And I can't really field a side I'm happy with if I get rid of Caleb Daniels. So that's why it works for my team. Cooper Simpson, fair enough. Jack McRae, fair enough. Sardell Hooley, fair enough. Shees wouldn't be trading. Hornet, if you have to trade him, I understand it because he's got the 150 break even and you've got to kind of get rid of him this week. And then pretty much, I mean, George Hewitt, for owners that have owned him, he's started to tail off 71, 80, 94, and then a poor game against GWS. But Essendon, West Coast, North, Port, great, fixtures coming back. You would not have paid near 900K for him at the start of you paid mid-eights for him, so he's probably lost a bit of that value over the last few weeks, which is probably a little bit disappointing, but I wouldn't be selling a George Stewart. Everything else, there's relatively standard. So they are the main trades that I've seen. These are my moves this week so far. It's a Trainer, an El Hooley, and a Connor Stone out for Myers, Campbell Gray, and Angus Clark, banking me 63K in the bank for next week. Hopefully next week I can do a Cooper Simpson down to a forward and like a Boxall down on the bye to a Zach Johnson potentially if he avoids the vest and plays well. And then we are good to go. So that's where my side's at. Let me know in the comments what your trade dilemmas are, and I'll try and get to them before tomorrow's game. But if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you smash a thumbs up and you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next week for our round 12 review.